This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you. Okay, good morning. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is 9:02 a.m. on Thursday, February 6th, 2025. This is a virtual format meeting of the Oregon Board of Massage Therapists. Seeing that we meet the quorum, I'd like to move on to introductions. Actually, I'm going to just ask that if you aren't speaking board member, please make sure your microphone is muted because it does give us a lot of feedback. Excuse me. Okay, we're going to do introductions. I'd like you to please state your name and your position on the board and the location you're calling from. We're going to start with board members and staff and then move on to members of the public. If you're a member of the public and an LMT, please include your LMT number and where you're calling from so we can record that for you. I'm Beckett Rowan, board chair and LMT member.
Maria Odle, public member.
Carol Gray, LMT board member, Portland.
Melissa Fulfer, LMT board member, Baker City, Oregon.
Scott English, public board member, Dallas, Oregon.
Ray, we're up to you. I think we have lost Ray.
No, Ray's there. He's muted.
Oh. Can you hear us, Ray? You are on mute. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. We'll come back to Ray if he can get that squared away. Bob?
Yes, I'm Bob Ruark. I'm the executive director for the board.
Kaito Dawson. Oh, sorry. Oh, Jeff is here.
Hi, Kaite. Go ahead then.
Oh, Kaito Dawson, operations and policy analyst for the board.
Jeff Van Lannon, compliance and licensure manager for the board.
Okay, members of the public, let's see, could we start with Nutwell?
Hi, my name is Ann Nutwell. I'm a licensed massage therapist out of Portland, Oregon. My license number is 22093.
Thank you. M. Davidow? Okay.
I'm sorry to cut in. Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead and introduce yourself.
This is Ray Riley, LMT board member, license number 26355. I live in Astoria, but I'm calling today from Las Vegas.
Thank you, Ray.
You're welcome.
Okay, back to members of the public. Tommy?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Tommy Jarvis, staff member for Representative Thuy Tran. We're both here in Northeast Portland. Thanks for having us. And the representative potentially will be here at 9:30.
Thank you. Phyllis?
Hi, I'm an LMT. My number is 27699, and I'm calling from Sherwood, Oregon.
Thank you. Jamin?
Yeah, Jamin Rock, license number 6827, on the Oregon board for the American Massage Therapy Association chair.
Thank you. And Myrna? Myrna, could you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. Myrna Ritten, license number 6687, Springfield, Oregon.
Thank you very much. Okay, I believe that's everybody at this time. Could I?
No.
No, we have some. Oh, I'm sorry, Don, please go ahead.
Don Schiff, LMT number 23463. I'm the AMTA Oregon Government Relations Chair.
Thank you. And it looks like Joy has just joined us. Could you introduce yourself, please, Joy?
Hi, Joy. I'm Joy. I'm in North Dakota. I also have a North Dakota or a Oregon license, and my camera doesn't function today.
Oh, that's okay. Could you say, give us your Oregon license number?
I don't have my license number with me because I'm at work.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. Okay. I believe we now have everyone. At this point, could I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the
Scott
agenda.
English. I
I'll go
second
ahead and
that.
take. Okay, Ray moved and Scott seconds. All in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. And just a few points of clarification for people who haven't done one of these meetings before. Please mute your microphone if you're not speaking. And members of the public are asked to keep their camera off. And again, to remind board members, we have a little bit of a lag. So if you can, please use a hand gesture as well as your voice when we're voting.
Becky,
Yes.
we have one more public member that just joined, Davido.
Okay. Could M. Davido, could you please introduce yourself? You're muted. Okay, we called on them before. I think they're having trouble being able to connect. Okay, so another point of clarification. We cannot have public comment today because the public comment period did end on Monday. All written comments and correspondence with the board have been received and provided to board members for consideration. The purpose of this meeting is to make a determination on the following proposed rules, amending OAR 334-001-0012 to rebalance the budget for the 2023 to 2025 biennium, and to amend OAR 334-010-0033, increasing fees for services. Is there any discussion on the proposed rules?
Chair Rowan, I would like to just clarify a few things. I've read, first of all, I want to say, with your permission.
Of course.
First of all, I want to say that I am very happy about the number of responses that we received. This is probably the first time in my 13 years of being on the board or being a board staff member that we've had this kind of engagement with our licensees. We've tried multiple times with different things. I will say that when we tried to reduce our CEs, we did have this kind of a response, but I'm really happy that that our LMTs are being engaged. I've read every one of the letters that were sent and emails and things like that. And there's a few things I want to talk about. There are a few items that I think LMTs are mistaken about, and I'd like to clarify that. There's only 4 points here that I'd like to go over. It'll be really quick. The first one is that there was a mantra that was repeated in almost every one of the letters that we received that said that Oregon, our fees were one of the most expensive in the United States for our licensing. And that is just simply not correct. If you do the analysis, you will find that I just did a quick check last night and I found 11 states that had higher licensing fees than we did, some of them substantially. I found another 10 states that had licensing fees that were consistent with ours. So that's almost half of the licensed states in the United States that are either at our licensing fee or much higher than us. Of note is even with this potential raise in fees, we will still be the least expensive massage license you can obtain on the West Coast. California is more expensive, Washington is more expensive, Alaska is more expensive, and I even checked on Canada and they're more expensive. So the entire West Coast of the continent, we would be the cheapest in the whole West Coast. Um, often it was reported that there were places that had extremely cheap licensing fees. Idaho was one of the ones that was pointed out in some of the correspondence, and they said it was I think $65. That's per year. Ends up being $130 for a 2-year, because our licenses are 2-year renewals. The thing about Idaho is, if you look up the statistics, the cost of living in Idaho is substantially less than Oregon. In fact, if you look up the statistics, housing is 17% less than Oregon. Utilities are 15% less than Oregon. And another side of that is that Idaho is part of a conglomeration of about 20 boards, and they all share in the costs of licensing their individuals. It's sort of a health licensing model. It's more than that. It's an occupational licensing model. So you have 20 boards that all pay for their share to take care of their licensees. If I had 19 other boards that were sharing in the costs of us distributing our licenses, our fees would be extremely low also. The other part of it is that Idaho receives money from their general fund. We have no general fund money. In fact, the fees that we get and the civil penalties that we get is what we have to live off of. We don't have the ability to go over that, because if we do, we go bankrupt, and we can't do that. The other one more thing that was talked about quite often is that we're trying to do these fees really quick without giving proper notice to our licensees. This was first discussed at the July board meeting, July of 2024. It was right after the first year of the biennium. I came to the board and I said, I'm going to review all the fees. I'm going to review the first year of the budget. I need to rebalance the budget, and I need to see if a fee increase is warranted or not. The September board meeting, September of 2024, I came to the board meeting with this proposal. The board reviewed it and approved it and started the rulemaking process. That was September. So you're looking at 5 months. You've discussed it almost every board meeting. We received correspondence about every board meeting. We had a rules hearing where individuals of the public were invited to come to this meeting or send correspondence to this meeting and talk about this. And we even extended that comment period an additional week to allow people that said that they didn't hear about it to make comments. And we received quite a few comments, which is wonderful. But I think it's not factual to say that the board is trying to rush this process through. On the high side, it's been 6 months. I'm not sure exactly how much time you need to be able to prepare to discuss it. And we've had 3 board meetings since then, and this will be the 4th one. So I don't think that's true or factual. I'm not saying that anybody's lying. I'm just saying that some information that they receive, maybe from Facebook or different websites or word of mouth, might not be factual. There are a few other things to go over, but that's really what I wanted to get out. I do want to say that I encourage our licensees to call me, to call our staff. We've had several of them do that, and give us an opportunity to explain to you where your money is going. There was a belief that the board does nothing. We had several letters that said the board doesn't do anything for me anyway, and it's hard to respond to that to somebody who doesn't really know what we do. So I would ask that anybody that has that question about what exactly the board does, where does the money go, I would say, come sit down with me. I'll go over the budget line item by line item. I will show you our expenses. I will show you the income that we earn, where it comes from, what we spend it on. You can go through it with a fine-tooth comb. I'm an open book with regards to that. And when it comes to what we do, I would recommend that you come and, if you'd like to, sit in our office and sit with one of our staff members and see what they do every day. And I think you'll be surprised about how much service you get for the price that you have. So outside of that, I'm not saying that that our licensees' concerns are not valid. This is not a recommendation that I made to the board lightly. In fact, I had hoped that I could make it through my entire career here without being the person to have to make the recommendation for a fee increase. but that's just simply not possible. I know it's a fairly large fee increase, but the idea behind it was to not try to have a fee increase for several years. The last one was 6 years ago, and somebody brought it to my attention the other day that if you went back 6 years, what your income was, and you haven't received a pay increase, and you haven't received a step increase, and you haven't increased your fees, and you're making exactly what you made 6 years ago with nothing changes, could you live on it? The answer is probably yes. But for a lot of people, it's probably no also, right? With the price of inflation and the fees that have increased, or the other costs that have increased. We haven't had a fee increase in 6 years. It's actually been over 6 years. And so we're still living off of what our income was based on 6 years ago. And actually, when that budget was written, it was more like 8 years ago. So that's all I got to say. I just wanted to bring those points up and to the board. And you have any questions for me?
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Director Ruark. And I would also like to make just a statement on behalf of someone who is an LMT with a very small private practice and working out of Eugene, which is one of the highest rent places in the country at this point. I understand the concerns so many therapists articulated in their correspondence that we are being priced out of our jobs between rent and the increased cost of supplies. And it is incredibly hard to make a living doing what we're doing right now. That is not falling on deaf ears, and we know that. And the reality is, as Director Ruark just articulated, those same increases are affecting the board, and we have no control over the amount that the staff is paid when raises come through. We don't have control over what happens with inflation for office supplies or postage cost or travel reimbursement. Those are things that by law we are locked into. We have to pay our bills. And as hard as it is for all of us to get by as individual small business owners, the board has to balance their budget with the same hard choices. We have done so many things. The board has worked very hard to streamline processes. Like, I know a lot of people miss the mailed license. I used to love that piece of paper too. I like the texture, but we saved a lot of money going to printing licenses. There's really nowhere else to cut at this point without hindering services. And there's been a lot of consideration on this. And I just want people to know that I've personally read every single correspondence. I follow what's going on online. I understand, and we hear you. And this isn't something that we think is just convenient to do. This is something that we're at a point where it needs to be done, and we have to be able to pay our bills going forward. So, with that being said, I appreciate all the correspondence and thank you for it, and for continuing to engage. Do any other board members have any comments or questions?
I do, if I may.
Yes, Ray, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say that the conversation regarding this fee increase was probably the most robust and productive conversation that I've been a part of since I started on this board. I know that all of our meetings are public record. You can go back and watch what we talked about and realize that we did not come to this decision lightly. I want to say we were talking for at least half an hour on this one issue. So I do appreciate everyone's correspondence. I also went through and read them all. I just, we did not arrive at this lightly. And please, if you think we did, go back and listen to that conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. And Carol, if you wanted to say something. Carol, I've lost your picture and your mic.
Hi.
Thank you.
I read all the correspondence and like I agree.
Okay, thank you. Melissa?
This is,
Hi, this is Melissa, LMT. I read everyone's correspondence and followed also on Facebook, and I understand both sides of the coin. I had an opportunity to visit the board office recently, so I was able to firsthand see what they do and see that they actually have integrity and spend time in answering every single phone call. My daughter's a part of the esthetician board, and when we call over there, we have to wait 2, 3, 4 days for a reply back. So I see everything they're doing, and our director did not come to this lightly, as they've said, and went through every detail. Also, Ikaite has not even been able to have maternity leave because it's so busy at the board answering all the phone calls. There's over 8,000 massage therapists, and even though I do see both sides, so just wanted to let all the LMTs know, and I believe it would be great to have more communication with what the board does. Thanks.
Thank you. Scott, did you have something?
yeah, thank you. Scott English, Public Board Member. I took the time to read all of the letters of concern, including the recent ones. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there were about 53 of them. Some of the letters had templates where they had shared it, but I really appreciated the people that sent the letters of concern, as well as there were 7 letters of support in our decision to raise funds. But I appreciate the letters where people were speaking from their heart. And some of the letters, it said, I understand the increase. I think it's fair. You guys have had to make difficult operating expenses and cuts, and then had concerns, very valid concerns. I appreciate everyone's input. I would hope the outcome of this is to see more people attend the board meetings. This was a difficult decision. I've been on the board about 14 months or so, and I can tell you this has been the biggest topic, or the most concerning topic, at least in my opinion, that we've discussed since I've been on the board. I also understand I'm the type of person that I was, not raised where college was paid for me, and I had to learn to, work at age 15 and start saving money. And it's difficult. Given the situation, though, I agree. It's unfortunately we have to raise the fees. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any more discussion from board or staff? Okay, if there's no further discussion, could I get a motion to approve the amendments to OAR 334-001-0012 and OAR 334-010-0033?
So moved.
Can I
And
get a
I'll
second?
second that.
Thank you, Ray. All in favor?
You're welcome.
Aye.
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 Opposed? None opposed, the motions carry. At this point, we have no further business. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
I second that.
Thank you, Scott. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned at 9:26 a.m. Thank you.